I woke up one day and I'm an old curmudgeon. How did that happen? I saw a book that said, all I needed to know I learned in kindergarten. Now, my problem is that I flunked out of kindergarten. I failed both crayons and recess. Imagine that. But all I needed to know I learned from cartoons. Now, what's wrong with the kids today? They learn everything on this Facebook thing, or this Instagram, or the Twitter. And they know nothing. If they were in a park and a bear was coming at them, what's the first thing they would do? They're going to die out. I learned everything at the source of all knowledge and wisdom, Saturday morning cartoons. I learned about hand-to-hand combat, who the good guys and the bad guys are. I learned all about physics, and I learned all about anthropology. So the first lesson in hand-to-hand combat and who the good guys and bad guys are, Tom and Jerry. Okay, so who's the good guy? The mouse. The bad guy? The cat. The cat is really big, much bigger than the mouse. The mouse is really big. And who always wins? The mouse. The other lesson that I learned is that no matter what happens to anybody, you could drop an anvil on the cat. You could slice the cat in half, and they will be back in the next episode. So I learned that we're all indestructible. Second lesson in combat, Bugs Bunny. Well, I learned that all rabbits are from Brooklyn, loudly, and if it's a hunter with a shotgun against a rabbit, the rabbit always wins. I also learned that if somebody's pointing a rifle at you and you stick your finger in the barrel, then they won't shoot, right? These are such important life lessons that we all have to learn. I learned about physics from the Roadrunner. Remember the Roadrunner? You have Wile E. Coyote, who's always trying to catch the Roadrunner. Now, National Geographic is totally full of it, because National Geographic told me that coyotes can run at about 40 miles per hour, but roadrunners can only run at about 20 miles per hour. And that's totally wrong, because every time in the Roadrunner cartoon, the Roadrunner was just running circles around this coyote. The laws of physics. If you paint a tunnel on the side of a rock, and you're a roadrunner, then you can go in. But if you're not a roadrunner, you hit the end. The other physics lesson is that gravity only works when you notice it. So if you're the coyote and you're chasing after the roadrunner and you come to off the edge of a cliff, you stand there until you notice that there's nothing under you, and then you fall down. And furthermore, a rock, which is above you, falls faster than you do. So we all know that according to the laws of physics, that will definitely happen. So you'll fall first, even if the rock is beneath you, you'll pass the rock, fall on it, and the rock will hit you. And the same lesson as from Tom and Jerry, no matter what happens to the coyote, he's up for the next round. And the final lesson from Roadrunner, never buy anything from the Acme Corporation. It never works. The next lesson in hand-to-hand combat, Popeye the Sailor Man. Remember him? He's this scrawny little guy with tiny little upper arms and these baloney forearms. He kind of goes around with a little pipe. Again, another important lesson for kids, smoke a pipe. And the bad guy, Bluto, was this huge guy. So it was like kind of Tom and Jerry. You know, Popeye's the little skinny guy. Brutus, or Bluto, was the... They changed it to Brutus. Was it Brutus or Bluto? It was the same guy. But he was like 10 times the size. So it's kind of like the mountain against Tyrion. But there's a secret weapon that Popeye has, and that's a can of spinach. So if you eat a can of spinach, then you instantly become like Superman and can take it away. So I remember looking in the cupboard for a can of spinach. Now, they didn't have any, but my mom did have a can of soup. Now, the other thing is that even before you eat the spinach, it is possible to open the can by squeezing it hard enough. So I squeezed it, and I squeezed it. And, well, I'm not going to give my full strength here, but that actually works. And so now I open all of my soup cans that very same way. And finally, I learned about anthropology from the Flintstones. Now, the Flintstones were a family that had all of the amenities that we have today, except they lived in the Stone Age. They had all the amenities except for things like engines, and so they had cars that you could spin by running your feet across. They had pet dinosaurs, and dinosaurs they used for construction, and they had brontosaurus steaks. So I learned from that humans and dinosaurs definitely coexisted together. So all of those creation museums, they're totally right. And finally, when it comes to dealing with things in our national parks, there was Yogi Bear. And the biggest threat that we have from bears, I learned, was that they will steal our picnic baskets. But if we threaten to tell the ranger, then everything will be okay. So when you see a bear in the woods, just make sure to protect your picnic basket, and you will be fine. So these kids today who get their information from all those terrible sources, I don't know why they do it, but for me, I will stick to my cartoons. And before I leave you, just one more thing.